And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
And the weekend before has finally arrived. For those folks who have been marking their calendars leading up to January 20th, we are here just 2 days away. And from around the country, people are descending on Washington, D.C. to be a part of the historic celebration of the beginning of a new golden era in America. I mean, it really is fabulous to watch people so excited and so wanting to just be a part of it and be in that sense of history that's going to occur on Monday at noontime. And folks are really set for a great time, and we're excited to be there. I'll try to send a little something out on Monday from the scene itself. But as we get ready for the big celebration on Monday, something is occurring in the Capitol that we've talked about previously, and that is the confirmation hearings for Donald Trump's new cabinet. And as we said several weeks ago, it really is incumbent upon the United States Senate to very quickly confirm the national security team that President Trump has nominated, particularly in light of the increasing serious threats to our security from hostile nations and terrorists. And all of those confirmation hearings have been somewhat interesting, but I thought that Pam Bondi did an exemplary job the other day. Of all the cabinet nominees, I thought that she pushed back the most effectively and the most consistently against some of the Democrats' talking points that, are written by other people and they have to read them to you and all this nonsense. But the one that she really struck a chord on, in my judgment, was the weaponization of the Justice Department, which she said simply isn't going to happen under the Trump administration. And the Democrats, are you going to weaponize? She said that's what's been occurring for the last 4 years and really the last 8 years. She said it extends far beyond the term of Joe Biden, where the deep state, and in particular folks within the Department of Justice, have targeted President Trump. One of the questions these Democrat senators asked is, well, will you identify the crime and then find the person that committed it, or are you going to take it in reverse? And she said, isn't that exactly what's happened? You had these prosecutors who literally had run for office telling the people, I'm going to get Donald Trump. That's the reason you should elect me. And then what in the heck did we expect to happen once they were in office? We're going to come back to the Department of Justice and the justice system in general in just a minute, but that's something to reflect on. So kudos to Pam Bondi, who led us so effectively. And it plays right into Joe Biden's farewell address. I mean, in the waning days of his administration, in the midst of all these goofy pardons and commutations, he comes out with his message to America, which really was a message to himself. When you stop and think about it, it was him fighting desperately to create some sort of legacy onto which he could hold, because that's what presidents do as they're leaving office. So what did he tell the American people? First of all, that the Middle East deal was because of him. Now, let's let credit go everywhere, because success has 1,000 fathers. But who can deny that that deal was consummated because of what Donald Trump said just a few days ago, which was, if those hostages aren't back by the time I take office, all hell is going to break loose. Nobody can deny that. I mean, common sense tells us that, but Miller at State told us that the infusion of Donald Trump's thinking and his negotiators into the process were what tipped the scales. The folks who were independent and at the table said it was the Trump folks who helped to bring this home. So why does Joe Biden say it was me? I mean, it's really kind of a sad commentary when you think about it, but it's been a sad administration as well. And of course, the obvious last question to ask about Joe Biden trying to take credit for the Middle East Accord is, if it was really because of him, why did it take so long? I mean, it literally is at the end of a 15-month period where those hostages have been in control of international terrorists. So, pity poor Joe Biden. The other couple of things that he spoke about were, one, broadband build-out. Now, our neighbors just a couple of doors up are the Broadband Association of Pennsylvania, and their president, Todd Eachus, tells me that basically nothing, NOTHING, has been done in Pennsylvania with this broadband build-out. And from what I understand, the same is the case in each of the other 49 states. And yet Biden wants to brag about his ability to build out broadband, particularly to rural communities. That's how meaningless all of this chatter is, and how empty the record of the Biden administration. And the third thing that he talked about was the takeover of the political system by oligarchs. Now, I got to tell you, most of my neighbors, when they sit down for breakfast tomorrow morning, are not going to be talking about oligarchs. But since Joe Biden chooses to use those words, think about this. He gave the Medal of Freedom to George Soros, who by any definition is not only an oligarch, but somebody who has tried to upend the criminal justice system in America, completely turning it on its head and ruining it, and in the process, ruining the country. I don't think that I can possibly say with a straight face that George Soros' agenda has been anything other than the complete and total destruction of the United States as we know it. And yet that's one of the heroes that Joe Biden lauds and one of the oligarchs that he wants to overlook. And so on the eve of his second inauguration, as we've mentioned several times, only the second president in American history to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, but at the eve of his second inauguration, Donald Trump, by all the polling data that's out there, has his highest approval ratings ever, over 50% in most of them, which tells you an awful lot. He has a mandate from the American people delivered back in November. He has the wind at his back, and he has an optimistic nation looking to him and his administration for real leadership to make America truly great. And I believe that's going to happen. 2025 shapes up to be a beautiful year, and the celebration of all that is just a couple of days away. And on one final sad note, Bob Uecker, people tell you he's a great baseball announcer, but he played baseball, and one of the seasons that he played, other than when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, was with the Philadelphia Phillies. And one day, Bob Uecker hit a home run, but in style that only Bob could come up with. He managed to pass one of the base runners and was called out after hitting a home run. Following the game, I think it was By Som, one of the old Phillies announcers, asked him, Bob, what about that? So you've never seen anything even like that before? And Uecker says, oh yeah, he said last year it happened 2 or 3 times. Vintage Bob Uecker, who loved to watch baseball from the best seats in the house. Oh yeah, in the 700 level. May he rest in peace. May God rest his soul, because he truly was a great guy, a lot of fun, and Mr. Baseball in so many ways. And as pitchers and catchers report, in less than a month, we pay homage to Bob Uecker. And for now, on Inauguration Eve, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.